I'll do a brief intro on this. I never know how much to say because I don't want to step on the sermon's toes, but it's a sermon on Toy Story, which is a great thing. And I realize that I haven't really done this since I've been in full-time ministry. I did it definitely a lot whenever I was a youth minister, and I think part of it too is in seminary we had some classes that was based off movies, and then I'd come home and watch a movie with Tara, and then she said, "You need to stop bringing the God angle to all this. You're ruining my movies." So maybe that's why I haven't done it, but it's a great thing because we understand, especially in these kids' movies, that they aren't just made for kids, and there are some bigger truths there. But the biggest reason I wanted to segue into it is it's the trailer for Toy Story 4. We'll obviously be able to see it here in person. We have the right licenses to do it, but since virtual church is on YouTube, you never know how much YouTube is actually going to like it. What should happen is if the video doesn't play on YouTube, those of you at home, it should just go blank or silent for like a couple of minutes, and then it should let us begin when Danny G comes up here and begins speaking. But let us go ahead and see the trailer for Toy Story.
Wow, Toy Story 4. So many life lessons that we can all learn from. There was many to choose from, and I went with friendship because throughout all four of the Toy Story installments, we see the common theme, friendship. And it's a great way for us to look at our lives and see how we can be the best friends that we can be to the people around us, the community that we're involved with, and ultimately the church. So, what exactly is friendship? Mark Fesser said it best. He said, friendship is not convenience. Friendship is a commitment. Or another way to say that is, friendship is a commitment with another individual. And that's the definition that I think I'm going to be using for today. So in Toy Story 4, we see Woody and the gang go on this adventure with their new friend, Forky. And he's convinced that he's trash. And he doesn't realize that he's the most important thing to Bonnie, their human. And Woody takes it as his mission to make sure that Forky understands that he is important in life. So today I'll be reading from Colossians 3:12 through 14, which says this: "Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them together in perfect unity." So just a brief overview of Colossians, which was written by Paul. Paul wrote this because there were false teachers and preachers at the time, and he wanted them to know that Jesus was the creator and the redeemer, and that this was not negotiable. He also wrote this because he wanted people to know that Christ is the center of creation, and that we can prosper and we can live together knowing that Christ created us to do something great and wonderful. But the main reason Paul wrote this, because at the time he was in prison, he was very lonely. He didn't have a lot of ways to talk to people. So he wrote this letter to the people in Colossal to develop a personal connection with each other. And I think it's important to note that Paul had never been to Colossal, so he was writing to people whom he had never met. So if friendship is a commitment, what does a commitment look like? Paul says that to be friends with someone, you must show compassion, kindness, patience, forgiveness, and humility. And throughout all four of the Toy Stories, we see this, that there's a friendship being built on these core principles. So Paul talks about compassion, and we see that Woody wants to take care of Forky. Over and over again, Forky says that he's a fork, meant for soup, salad, maybe even chili. But then he's meant to be thrown away. But Woody doesn't see it like this. Woody sees that Forky was made by Bonnie, and Bonnie loves Forky. It's the most important thing to her. Now, I'm going to take a side note and make quick few comments on this. So sometimes people feel like they're trash. And because of this, it's hard to see the reality that we're meant to be something. We're just supposed to do something with their lives. And this just isn't true. And sometimes we're the people that are deciding and defining what trash is. And it's not our job to decide or to define what trash is. Our job is to love people, not to judge people. So now getting back onto the train of compassion. So compassion is creating meaning, interactions with people, finding that commonality that we see with one another. It's the notion that you have to be aware of how your affections affect each other. And it's really hard sometimes to find what you have in common with somebody. So I like to take a look and see if I can help this person, if I can do something for this person, or maybe I'll hop in their shoes. You don't know if that person driving on I-75 cut you off because they're having a bad day or a good day, or maybe they have somebody in the hospital and so they're not taking the time as they should while they're driving, and so they just cut you off. So just let it go and show them some compassion. It's just a 3-second act just to let that go and not get angry about it. And then what can I do to help somebody? How can I show them compassion? Maybe it's buying somebody lilac because they like the color purple. Or maybe it's, buying the popcorn for you and your friends when you go to the movies. Or maybe it's picking up the tab at a bar because, you just want to be nice. So then we see Paul talk about kindness. So in the movie, the toys are looking after each other. And in the movie, Buzz says to Bonnie, "Hey, you forgot your backpack in the antique store." And this is important to see Buzz do because toys don't talk to humans. And so in a split second, Buzz said, "Hey, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to take care of Bonnie. I want her to know that her backpack is just not with her. It's in the store." And ultimately, this leads to Bonnie getting her backpack as well as leads to the conclusion to the end of a really good movie. But this shows some level of civility. And sociologists have said for the past 10, 15 years that in America, we're lacking this level of civility. So if we can somehow find or intentionally become civil with each other from all spectrums of life, I think that we can try to turn the tables there and try to be kind and show that civility with each other. So then Paul talks about patience. So like I said before, Woody tries to convince Forky that he's important, that he's supposed to do something great. He's supposed to be there for all the moments that Bonnie is going through, whether happy, sad, angry, and all the other different emotions. And Forky just doesn't accept this advice. And Woody doesn't give up. He is the most patient thing I've ever seen. If I could just strive to have the level of patience that Woody had, I think I'd be perfect. But I'm not. I don't have that amount of patience. And so how can we as humans be patient? So we have this information. So we're in the information age, according to sociologist Janice Malik, right? And what does this mean? So in the information age, we have the digital difference or the digital divide, right? So I have my phone, and I have everything at my fingertips. I can Google something if I don't know how to do it. I can play games. I can watch Netflix or get on social media, and that's all great. But it also leads to us getting tunnel vision with different information. And we see this because some people only pay attention to certain information over here or certain information over here. And sometimes it's news outlets, right? Sometimes people only watch stuff from CNN or Fox News or MSNBC. And because of this, you're only getting half the story or some of the story over a different perspective of a story. So how can we be patient? And how can we make sure that we are doing something that shows kindness and compassion as well as patience? And the great answer is to slow down. So we can count how long it takes to do something, right? 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000. And usually, I've never made it to 15. I've never been able to count to 15. Usually, whatever I'm frustrated at or I'm impatient with just disappears or it's done. For example, the other day I was walking behind this 5-year-old. He's going up the stairs, and oh my God, they go so slow. And I just started counting. And by the time I got done counting, I got into 4, and we were at the top of the stairs. So, and the last thing I can do to be patient is take time to understand. So if I take time to understand where someone's going through, maybe they're struggling to communicate why they're going through certain motions, or maybe they're just having a bad day. So if I'm patient with them and I understand, or I try to take the time to understand what they're going through, I can be patient and caring and just be there for them. So then we see that Paul talks about humility and forgiveness. So in the movie, Little Bo Peep and Woody, they have this fight over how to rescue Forky. Little Bo Peep wants to give up, but Woody says no, there's no toy left behind. However, because of this, they just go their separate ways. They get frustrated with each other. They get mad at each other. And because of this, they have this thing where they don't want to talk to each other. It's awkward to talk to somebody that you're mad at, right? So, but Little Bo Peep and Woody don't leave it like that. After a few seconds, they realize, hey, I was wrong. I may have been right at the time, but I was wrong to get mad at the other person. And so they come together in the movie, and they show each other that, hey, I was wrong to act this way towards you. And because of this, they were able to come together and save Forky. Now, humility, exactly what is it? It's examining your place in society, realizing that your place has nothing to do with you, but may have affected your journey to get there. It's having an open mind. It's where did my rewards and my benefits come from? And I like to pray about this, why did I do this, or why did I do that, or how did I get this job, or how did I get this really cool thing that I have? It's realizing that I didn't get there on my own. I'm here today because I've had help along the way throughout my entire life. It's realizing that we are connected with everybody. Some connected with more people than others, but we're all connected. And I like to see how many people that I can connect with in whatever community I'm involved with. And I like that our church has so many community outreaches that we're connected with different people from different backgrounds all throughout Bond County. And then Paul talks about forgiveness. If you don't forgive, it festers inside of you. It grows and it infects you. Now, this can be a problem because when you don't forgive somebody, you get mad at them, and then it starts to affect your other aspects of life. If you're mad at somebody at work, it's going to affect your home life and your extracurriculars. If you're mad at somebody at home, it's going to affect your ability and your functions at work. And this just isn't a way for humans to live. We're not meant to be infected with this hate, this thing that says, hey, somebody wronged me, or I wronged somebody. We're meant to seek forgiveness. And the best way we can seek forgiveness is to have grace and an open line of communication. Now, grace is the opposite of karma. Karma is I give $5 to somebody and I get $5 later down the road. Whereas grace is somebody gave me $10 just because. It's something I didn't deserve. And when somebody wrongs you or you wrong somebody, having that grace allows you to give them something in return for something that they don't deserve. Somebody wronged you, and you're saying, hey, here's a little time, here's a little compassion, here's a little peace of mind, I forgive you. And the second thing is having an open line of communication. When you have an open line of communication, your understanding of how people are acting or how they're feeling becomes much broader. And because of this, there's a lot less conflict. Sociologists have said over and over again, if we could just open up a line of communication with as many people and have that level of openness, then there would hardly be any conflict that we couldn't resolve. So as a church, we're trying to reach Bond County one person at a time. And I think this is great. But I like to see how we're doing it. We have this blessing box at the front of the church, and I love that we have that. But I think to reach somebody, the best thing we can do is become friends with them. Not invite them to church, not tell them they're going to hell, but just be friends with them. Show that compassion, show that patience, show that forgiveness. Because we as a church definitely need to seek forgiveness, because whether unintentionally or intentionally, personally, or as a church as a whole, we've hurt people. And that's just something that we need to own up to. And because we've hurt people, and we need to apologize, because those mistakes will affect how we can interact with the community, how we become friends with the community around us. And we definitely shouldn't have the civility that some churches do in the community. You see churches go to picket lines, and you see churches do things that just aggravate people. But if we could do the exact opposite and love, forgive, show humility, show compassion, and have some patience, I definitely think that we will be able to make friends with a lot more people here in Bond County. So if we can look past our differences and apologize for the hurt you and I have caused, then we can make reparations, like Woody and Little Bo Peep did, because they were able to do that, come together, and save their friend. But if we can do this, we can come together and become friends with the people around us and effectively reach Bond County one person at a time. Dear God, thank you for your world of beauty, abundance, blessings. Help us to use our gifts to bring justice and healing to all people. Help us to go live lives worthy of God. When we stumble upon places of pain and struggle, help us not to create something that festers inside us. Help us not to cross the street and walk past, but reach out in love. Help us to know that the seed of God's Spirit grows in our life, yearning to become friends with other people so that we may bear fruit of justice and compassion. Amen.